the nation continues to cope with the thousands of Central American children who are entering the U.S. illegally.
Well, now the Obama administration says it wants to make a law from years ago more flexible. The law is about human trafficking, and it prevents the government from rejecting most children coming to the U.S. However, the same restrictions do not apply to kids coming from Mexico and Canada. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson says the administration is trying to process adults who cross the border illegally. Johnson says the unaccompanied children who are coming here are posing the most difficult problem, and it must be made clear to people, specifically in Central America, that anyone who enters the U.S. illegally will be deported eventually. Now, no doubt the immigration crisis is affecting New Mexico. On CBS's Face the Nation yesterday, legislators argued about the president's stance on immigration and how the U.S. will move forward.
The president is making it very hard for us, those who do get it, to work with him because he's unilaterally changed every law he doesn't like. Now he's putting immigration on the list.
I am really getting fed up with some of the critics of this administration, particularly from House Republicans. They had the opportunity for one solid year to call the immigration reform bill, and yet they refused to.
Catholic Charities in southern New Mexico are opening their doors for immigrants here illegally. A charity is setting up temporary shelters for women and kids the U.S. Customs and Border Protection has let go in the country. In Las Cruces, about 36 families went to the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church, where more than 100 volunteers have set up a laundry room, showers, a clinic, those cots, and more.
I've been amazed. I've been doing volunteer coordination stuff for years, and to be honest with you, this is the first time I've just seen everything fall in place. Any challenge we had, it was like melted away. It's amazing.
The church says it expects to get a new group of immigrants every few days. Well, U.S. Senator Tom Udall says people are warming up to the idea of having an immigration center in southern New Mexico. Senator Udall toured the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Artesia last week. Its barracks are being used to house hundreds of immigrants for the next several months. Even though some people in Artesia are concerned with health and safety issues, Senator Udall says that women and children in the facility will have little effect on the community. Udall says he is asking immigration officials to give regular updates on its operations to quell some of the community's concerns.
The state's attorney general is asking the New Mexico Supreme Court for permission to intervene in a lawsuit on behalf of a disabled veteran who claims he was unfairly fired by CYFD. Gary King, a Democrat running against Governor Susana Martinez, says the state should have settled the case back in 2011. A jury determined that CYFD violated Sergeant Philip Ramirez's rights by firing him twice for misconduct and insubordination. Ramirez served 2 tours in Iraq and was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. He was given his job back, but after an appeal was fired again for the same reasons. But Martinez's administration says Ramirez was fired during former Governor Bill Richardson's administration for insubordination and not showing up to work. They're now questioning King's interest in the case. Police in Santa Fe say they've nabbed one of the armed robbers who's been terrorizing tourists recently. The police arrested Andrew Valencia on Friday. Officials say an officer recognized the suspect from surveillance photos. Cops say Valencia admitted to 4 recent armed robberies in Santa Fe, including robbing one person in front of a museum. Turns out Valencia was using a modified BB gun during the robberies.
We wanted Santa Feans to know that their city was safe, and we did everything we could. The chief allocated extra resources to track this guy and ensure that he was behind bars as quickly as possible.
Cops are still looking for this man, dubbed the Skunk Bandit. Police say he is responsible for holding up the front desks at hotels. They're also still looking for a couple who held up a clerk at a Holiday Inn Express.
Well, coming up on 5:35, a dangerous prank in Albuquerque could lead to federal charges, and a kid could be involved in all of this. Albuquerque police are investigating 3 cases where mailboxes were blown up Saturday morning in the Northeast Heights. Police say lit fireworks were thrown into the mailboxes, and in most cases, the only thing left, we'll take a look here, are the stands the boxes were bolted to.
Now this is turning into a federal crime due to the severity of the mailboxes being blown up and the devices they were using. Anybody who approached those mailboxes while these devices were in them could have been seriously hurt or caused death.
Police say they do have a suspect who is a minor, but they have not arrested anyone in this just yet. They've also turned the cases over to the U.S. Postal Service.
Well, there could be some good news on the job front in Rio Rancho. The Observer reports that unemployment remains low. The paper reports Rio Rancho now needs fewer than 400 jobs to recover all of the positions that vanished during the recession. Employment peaked in April 2008. According to the article, employment increased by almost 100 jobs to reach just over 37,000 workers earlier this year. Rio Rancho and the U.S. both had an unemployment rate of 6.3% in May. A summer sports program at UNM that serves mostly underprivileged children is facing another hurdle. It's called the Summer Youth Sports Program, and it teaches kids the fundamentals of sports on a university campus, and it helps keep them off the streets. The director says it's helped more than 10,000 kids over the years, but the program has been in jeopardy each year since government funding ran out in 2007. Kids ages 8 to 14 are bused to and from the camp every day. Both breakfast and lunch are served. This year, the camp cost only $10 per child, a lot less than last year.
And in reducing the charge, we gained a lot of those lower income kids back because their parents saw that $10 for a 4-week camp was an awesome deal still.
UNM is still providing the facilities for the camp, but the director says that they are relying on private donors for everything else.
Well, the New Mexico Lottery wants to reduce the amount of money it has to give the state's lottery scholarship program. Right now, the lottery has to give 30% of its revenues to the scholarship program, but it wants that number to go down. It's asking legislators for this, saying if it can offer bigger payouts, it would ultimately be able to give more money to the scholarship fund. But according to the Albuquerque Journal, Think New Mexico, it's a research organization, disagrees with this idea. It says other states that have made changes saw most of their profits go to overhead rather than the scholarship programs.